Hello and welcome back to Nicki V's Let Him Find You. Now, this week I want to talk about our bodies because so many of you have written into me or asked me questions when you've come to one of the meetups, and you have said, look, the one thing that I haven't really ever spoken to you about, Nicki, or asked you about is I'm really a bit nervous about getting into my next relationship with, my body. Well, you're going to get into the next relationship with somebody else's body with your body. So that's the reality. But I know what you mean. You mean, look, I kind of got either I've been on my own a long, long time. So maybe, this is definitely for you if you've been single for a long, long time and so haven't had any intimacy or, a man seeing you naked, as it were. Or maybe you've been in other relationships and a previous relationship, but now you recognize that number one is you need to feel comfortable with a new relationship, or maybe even more commonly is number two is, you're a little bit older, or maybe you've had a baby, or, you've got into a situation where you look at your body in the mirror and you don't feel quite as fantastic as you used to maybe a few years ago or when you were in your previous relationship. And the fact is when we've been in a relationship for a long time, we tend to we kind of get used to each other. We kind of get used to being with a particular man, and maybe he's the same, or maybe you're one of those women. And, I've heard many women say, well, I never really walked around in the nude, or I never really kind of let him see, come into the bathroom when I was in the bathroom. Now, this is only my opinion. It's not, this is not like a, Tony and Nicki V philosophy on being in a great relationship. But all I would say to you is the relationships that we have, come across, the couples that we've come across who have been challenged are the ones that have got they have got very, very little connection. So they've got either they started off really well, or then as time went on, but what they'll have is they'll either have, a disconnection in terms of intimacy, they'll have a disconnection about money, or they'll row a lot, or they'll just be in a disconnected state. But often they'll be disconnected, so they're not loving around each other. Now, one of the things that then would be a part of that would be a woman being very like, I don't want you to come anywhere near me, or I don't want you to come in the bathroom when I'm in the bathroom, that kind of thing. So why would I be talking about this to you? I was saying that one of the things that we really want to do is get ourselves ready so that we feel absolutely great about ourselves, and so that we can then get into a relationship with a man who feels absolutely great about himself. And then we're both very relaxed about each other's bodies. We love each other's bodies exactly as they are today. We're not thinking as women, we're not going, if I could just lose 3 stone, then I'll be okay with going in a relationship. That's not, first of all, it's not what a healthy man. Remember last time when I had, my special guest here, Tony was here answering questions, and I asked him the question, I said, is it true that what most women think, that a man just goes, for a woman by what she looks like, what her body's like and what she looks like? And he, of course, said, only unhealthy men go for that, right? Whereas a healthy man, he's looking for the whole of you to be happy and content and good with yourself, happy with yourself. Because, of course, what you want is a man who's happy with himself. So, what is this getting ready for a man? What is getting ready and being really okay with our bodies look like? Well, it means, as I say, not saying I need to lose weight, or I need to get fit, or I need to tone up, or anything like that. It's actually about that age-old saying, which is loving yourself exactly as you are. And if I'm really, really honest, it was one of the affirmations that I used to have on I always go there because it was just there. So here I am in my bed, and if you remember, I was on a double bed and I was on one side, which leaves room for a man to come into my life, not to come and live with me in my house, but to leave that room. And on the wall next to my bed was some affirmations, and one of them was, I love myself exactly as I am. And this is such a great thing to do, is to really love yourself. So some of the, not so much Nicki V, Tony V's teaching, but some of the teaching which is really good is to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and just go, you know, I'm a woman, I have curves, I have, you know, like Rubenesque features, or maybe I'm very, very slim. Maybe I have small breasts. Maybe I have very slim legs. Maybe I have no bottom at all. I mean, what amuses me so much, of course, is, and I know you all know this from you and your friends, is that what we've got, we seem to not like. And we envy, sometimes if we're not doing very well, we envy somebody who's got the opposite. And I love it when I come across a girl who's got what I would call, you know, a kind of classic model figure. And she goes, you know, my boobs are too small and I have no bum and, you know, my legs, or I'm too tall or I'm not too small. Basically, as women, we want whatever we haven't got. And of course, so the moral to today's video, and I'm so glad I made this video, I'm just thinking as I'm talking, is because if we could love ourselves exactly as we are, if we can love our bodies and practice that right now. So, you know, doing what, I mean, sometimes I know one of the girls that's on one of our courses, she does do dancing in front of a mirror in naked. And if you're going, well, I'm not doing that, find something to do that makes you feel free and makes you feel happy. Maybe it is to have more great baths and just to luxuriate in your gown, you know, your night dress or your dressing gown, and just to be more comfortable with being naked underneath, so that you start to get into the habit of being really comfortable and with your body. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about is being comfortable with not being perfect. So for argument's sake, I'm going to be really, really honest now. I absolutely loved my dad to distraction. And you're thinking, what the hell has that got to do with it? Well, people say the biggest compliment I ever have is, you're so like your father. Well, my father had really dark skin, which means that I'm very lucky. I get very, very brown. I've got quite skin. But he was one of the hairiest men that I've ever met. So I have inherited being very hairy, which means that I'm having to shave all sorts of parts of my body consistently and quite often. And again, what I really noticed when I was getting ready for Tony to find me, it was I started to say to myself, relax about this. Just relax about it. It is not the end of the world if your hair is not complete, if your body is not completely clear of hair. And one of the other things is I thought that, you know, Tony might be put off, or, you know, my man might be put off by that in some way. And I remember saying to myself, don't be so silly. That is so ridiculous, because the man that I know is coming. I knew that he was coming to find me. I knew that he was going to be perfect for me for the rest of my life. We're never going to be a man who's going to say, you're too, you know, fat, too thin, too hairy, too anything. He was going to be a man that was going to love me exactly as I am. And one of the things that I'll probably put it on the PS underneath the video, of asked Tony to do that, is I found a video on YouTube of Bridget Jones, the movie. And I know that, you know, I've used Bridget Jones as quite a good example. She's kind of the single woman's kind of thing, right? And there was a video of where Bridget Jones is at a party, and Mark Darcy, who's obviously, you know, I forget his name now. What's his name, Tony?
Colin Firth.
Colin Firth, thanks. Colin Firth comes to her, and she's leaving the party because she's made a complete fool of herself. She's made a speech and it all went wrong, and she got drunk, and it was all really terrible. And she's going to leave this party, and he comes up behind her and he says, Bridget, and she goes, what? Have you come to tell me that I'm stupid and crazy and drunk and all that? And he goes, no. And he said, they say a few things to each other. And then he goes, no, I came to tell you that I like you, and I like you very much. It makes me feel like, just tell you this. He says, I like you very much, just as you are. And what I loved about that video, and why it made me cry so much, is that that was part of my vision, was for a man to come along and just love me exactly as I am. And so you need to get yourself ready, guess how? by loving yourself exactly as you are. Otherwise, Mark Darcy, Colin Firth, Tony V, type man, healthy, masculine, great man, is not coming until you love yourself exactly as you are. So I'll leave you there and go and mop my makeup up because today I just wish for you that experience that she gets in that video, and I just give to you, just love yourself and your body, and he will come find you when you are completely ready. So from me, until next time, bye bye for now.